Hello everyone. It came to my attention that some of you guys are struggling a little bit with Dragunity when it comes to opening hands that do not have direct access to Ravine. So you don't open with Remus or Ravine, and sometimes you struggle with identifying whether or not your hand can combo or not, and whether or not you can play with it. So in this video, I'm gonna try to answer that question and tell you guys how, and give you guys some points of reference that you can use to identify whether or not your opening hand can play at all and whether or not you can combo with it or not. So yeah. So first of all, this is the deck list that I'm using currently to climb the ladder. Keep in mind, I'm not playing that much this season because I'm getting a little bit bored of this season because the current meta is not really the meta that I want to be playing in. Like all the super heavy samurai stuff, all the droll decks, and having to deal with Maxi on top of that, like it's kind of daunting and it's kind of irritating. So sometimes I just take breaks of many days, maybe weeks, just to forget about it. Like I'm not playing that much. The current meta is kind of boring, so maybe I will wait for a ban list or something to just make things more exciting and more bearable, I guess. Either way, this is the list I am using whenever I play. Sometimes I just replace Ascalon or Arid Bear with the Satellite Warrior, depending on whether or not I'm playing against backrow decks or not. Like sometimes I notice that more people are playing a backrow deck in a certain day, so I just put back in Satellite Warrior because it does well against backrow decks. But besides that, this is the list if you want to copy it or if you want to use it as a reference. So with that being said, before I jump into some replays that I prepared to showcase what you can do when you don't have access to Remus or Ravine, I'm gonna showcase a board state that you want to aim for generally whenever you combo. So this picture right here is a picture that depicts a board state that you want to aim for whenever you combo, and you want to get as close as possible to this board state. Of course, this board state is made of 2 level tuners. It can be any level 2 tuners. It doesn't need to be these particular tuners. Although having Ringworm on the field is nice because it will naturally go to the graveyard when you synchro summon with it. However, if you could not summon Ringworm directly, it's okay. You can use any other level 2 tuner and then get the Ringworm into the graveyard at some point during the combo. It can be like very very early on or mid combo. As long as Ringworm ends in the graveyard, it's okay. You can use like Guider to do that. Or you can use like Ravine to do that. Okay. Besides the level 2 tuners, you want also access to a level 6 dragon. It can be any dragon. It doesn't need to be Guider. It's just that Guider is the level 6 dragon that naturally becomes part of the sport state because of the way we sequence things. But depending on your opening hand, it might not be the Guider. It might be any other level 6 dragon. Also, we need another high-level Dark Dragon on the field, so we can summon Lubellion. This high-level Dark Dragon can be either a Bestial or Red MD. Again, it all depends on the resources you access at the start of the game and your sequencing. Atom is gonna be part of this board every single time because of the way the combos work, so you don't need to worry about Atom. Also, you need access to a level 6 Bestial that you can summon at this part of the combo, like after you synchro with the tuners. Usually this level 6 Bestial is banished and can be revived with Dispatter, as you guys can see in my guide video, the guide video that I made like a month ago, I think. So you can check that video out to actually learn the standard combo first, and then you can come back here to learn the advanced stuff. So yeah, so usually the level 6 Bestial that you summon is going to be summoned off of the banished zone with this pattern. However, it does not need to be banished. Sometimes you just have an extra Bestial in hand, so you use that one to summon itself from the hand, and it will serve the same goal, as long as you have like an extra tuner to use with it to go into Savage. So yeah, but I put here that you needed banished to revive it with this pattern because usually that's how it works out. Although when you don't start with Remus and Ravine, you will see it's not every single time that you would have the opportunity to banish a bestial so that you can revive it with this pattern. Sometimes you don't have access to a level 6 bestial at all at this point of the combo, and we will see how we can handle that with one of the replays. So yeah, so just to recapitulate, you need 2 level 2 tuners as long as at some point in the combo Ringo Worm ends up in the graveyard. You need a level 6 dragon. You need any bestial or Rhythm D so that you can summon Lubellion, so you can go into this pattern. And you need a level 6 bestial to summon on the field, whether it is banished or you summon it from the hand. So that's the general idea, that's the general like board state you want to aim for whenever you combo, regardless of whether or not you have access to Remus or Ravine. So now let's hop into some replays and see how we can put this knowledge into practice. And I'm going to also give you another tip to know exactly how does your opening hand tell you whether or not you can combo or not. So in this first replay, we're gonna see how we can start comboing with this particular hand. So as you can see, this hand is not particularly good. It doesn't look like you can combo with this hand. However, there are certain things that you can think about that will allow you to identify whether or not a certain hand can be played and can combo or not, okay? So usually whenever you look at your hand, you want to ask 3 questions, okay? The first question is, can I get to Romulus and get access to Ravine? If the answer is yes, you move to the other question, which is, okay, do I have enough discards for Ravine to go into Guider? And then you answer, if you answer yes, then you move to the last question, which is, by the end of that, do I have access to a level 6 dragon that I can put in the graveyard somehow? Okay, so once you answer these questions, if the answer is to all of them is yes, then yes, your hand can play and can combo to a certain extent. So in this particular example, let's try to apply those questions and see if we can answer them correctly and whether or not this hand can combo or not. So the first question is, can I get to Romulus and access Ravine? Well, we can normal summon Seifert and then use Seifert's effect to get access to another bestial, and that new bestial will banish this True Swarm from the graveyard, summon itself, and this new bestial that was summoned plus Seifert can go into Romulus, and Romulus can get us Ravine. So the first answer is yes, we can get to Romulus and we can access Ravine. The second question, can I have enough discards to use with Ravine to go into Guider? Well, again, the answer is yes, because whether or not we put Regained on the field, it doesn't matter because we always have 3 cards in hand plus Ravine. So in this particular case, if we start the replay, you can see we start the replay by sending the True Swarm and go into Magnamot. Although in hindsight, this could have been Saronir, which would be better. I will explain why Saronir would have been better here in a little bit. So here, once we summon the bestial that we got, we can go into Romulus. Of course, here because we started with Regained is gonna get us an extra card. So here we get Baby Rock, which is not ideal, but because it's Baby Rock, we can still utilize it somehow, as you guys will see in a little bit. So here we go into Romulus, and the reason why Saronir would have been better here, because once we link off Seifert plus Saronir, we can put Romulus as chain link 1, and then Saronir as chain link 2 to chain block the Romulus, so that we guarantee the Ravine Surge. Although our opponent can still just Imperm or Veiler the Romulus anyway, so I digress, okay? But the correct play is most likely like Saronir, but Magnamot works as well, because either way you're gonna access both of them during the combo regardless. So yeah, so here we search Ravine. So as you can see, we have Ravine plus 3 other cards. Okay, so we already have enough discards for Ravine to go into Guider, because usually Ravine requires 2 discards to go into Guider. And this is exactly the case. So we're just gonna activate Ravine, discard 1, get Remus, and now we can activate Remus, use the second Ravine, and discard another card and get into Legatus. Here I discarded Ash because I value the Baby Rock in hand because of we have Romulus before we summon Guider. And because we didn't have access to Remus or Ravine at the start of the game, here I'm just gonna use Baby Rock as an extender. Now, how am I gonna extend with Baby Rock when I already normal summoned? Where you're gonna see. So I'm just gonna go into Guidurg and I'm gonna make sure to summon Guidurg into an arrow that into one of the Romulus's arrow, which is gonna trigger Romulus secret effect and summon the Baby Rock from my hand. So usually there is a restriction on the monster you summon with Romulus this way, so you cannot use it as link summon and its effects are negated. But in this case, it doesn't matter because there is no on-field effect that I care about with Baby Rock, and it's a tuner, so I'm gonna summon it for synchro summoning purposes anyway, so I don't care about the link restriction. So now I need to search with Guidurg. So usually whenever you search with Guidurg in these type of situations, you want to search Samsara Dragon first, right? Because that's the card that's gonna allow you to play. So now we search Samsara Dragon and we go into Seals. So here, again, remember we only search Samsara first because when you don't have access to an early Remus or Ravine, usually you're only gonna get 2 Guidurg summons during the turn, as opposed to 3 Guidurg summons in a regular combo where you start with Remus or Ravine. Okay, so we have 1 less search with Guidurg, so we need to adapt what cards we search with Guidurg so we are able to combo. Okay, so usually the first card you search is Samsara Dragon. Of course, sometimes you open Samsara as part of your opening hand, so you can discard it with Ravine, in which case you can search other targets depending on what other resources you have access to. Okay, but usually the 2 search targets for Guidurg in this type of sequencing are Samsara Dragon and Ringo War. Okay, usually. So here we go into Seal with Guidurg and Romulus, and at this point, to make sure that you are on the correct track, you can just pause and look at your graveyard at this point, and what you want to see is Guidurg in the graveyard, Samsara Dragon in the graveyard, and the level 6 dragon in the graveyard. Okay, it could be Magnamut or Saronir if you used Saronir to chain block Romulus. Okay, so if you have these 3 cards, Guidurg, Samsara Dragon, and a level 6 dragon, you're set to go and you're ready to start comboing. Okay, and from this point onward, the more resources you have access to will push the combo even further. In this case, we had access to Baby Rock as an extra extender, and we also have access to Seifert. So these 2 cards are gonna push the combo even further. So, and also we had access to Regained from the start. Okay, so we have ways to push the combo even further, even though we did not start with Remus and Ravine. And we're gonna see this in this combo. So we're gonna start by using the effect of Samsara to get the level 6 dragon and tribute. And here, make sure with the effect of Seal to summon another Bestial. If you didn't have access to Saronir from the start, you summon Saronir. If you already had access to Saronir, you summon another Bestial. Usually it would be Magnamut. Okay, so the reason for that is we want to go into Atom first. Do not make the mistake of going into Red MD first. Okay, that is like resource inefficient, and you will lose access to 1 level 6 dragon on the field, and you might also lose access to your Bestial package overall. So you want to summon a Bestial with Seal, and then use that Bestial plus the level 6 dragon that you got back with Samsara to go into Atom. Now Atom is gonna specifically detach Saronir, okay, because we still didn't use the Saronir effect, so we're gonna detach Saronir, activate Saronir to dump the Lobelian, and then we're gonna use the RedMD to get back Guiderk. So this is the second Guiderk summon. In this case, we search Ringworm. So again, you search Samsara first, and then you search Ringworm. Those are the priority, okay? So after this, you look at your graveyard, you look at what you have access to, and you continue the combo dependent on those resources, okay? So here, we already have Samsara, we already have Rebellion in the graveyard, but also we had access to an early Seyfert. So what we can do is activate Seyfert, get that Rebellion in hand, and search another Bestial. In this case, the Ruisworm. And now we can use the RedMD on the field to summon the Rebellion. So we don't need to summon the Druisworm in order to summon the Rebellion, because we still have the RedMD on the field. So the RedMD on the field is useless. It used its effect already, so we can use it to summon the Rebellion. And here Rebellion usually will place Regained on the field, but because we already accessed Regain, it's gonna place Beast. And now we go into this pattern. So we already coming close to that board state that I showed you earlier, okay? So now, again, we look at our graveyard, we look at our banished pile, and we see what we can do. So here we already went into this pattern. So what we can do here is use the Ringworm to summon the second tuner that we will use and go into Axel Synchro. And the reason why I know I can go into Axel Synchro is because I have a level 2 tuner on the graveyard in the form of Baby Rock. So I can summon back the Baby Rock. And here, usually in the standard combo, what I would do is summon the level 6 Bestial that was banished to the field and use that Bestial plus the tuner to go into Savage. However, because we had a weird hand, we did not have access to a way to banish a level 6 Bestial. However, what we have instead is a Bestial in hand that is ready to be summoned. Okay, so it's the same thing. Instead of summoning the Bestial with this pattern from the banished zone, we just summon from the hand. So we just summon the Druisworm from the hand. Here I choose to banish the RedMD on purpose because I would have a way to summon it back from the banished zone with this pattern. And now I can use Baby Rock plus a Druisworm to go into Savage. And you might be thinking, okay, so but now I have a naked Axel Synchro on the field. Well, remember, we summoned the Druisworm from the hand, meaning that this pattern is still ready to be used to summon something else. And guess what? We have Ringworm banished, so we can just use the Dispatter to summon the Ringworm, and that is the tuner that will work with Axel Synchro to quick synchro on the opponent's turn. And just like that, we ended on the full board. I could have also went into seals with both like Atom and Dispatter. I chose not to because I have both Regained and Beast, so I want Beast to be online from the start. So as you can see, we started with a very weak hand, but we still ended up full comboing because we understand how to identify whether or not our hand can combo and how to sequence things so that we can end on the best board possible. Okay, of course, we got in this duel we did not get interrupted, but that's beside the point. Like, the more you get interrupted, the less part of the end board you will have. That's pretty much it, right? But sometimes, depending on whether they interrupt you, you can still end on the same board because the interruption were weak, so on the wrong spots. So yeah, so this is how you can combo and identify whether or not your hand can combo by following those 3 questions and just following the correct sequence. And you will get it wrong at the start, don't worry about it. Sometimes you might even lose to time because you're thinking too much and you did not realize the sequencing. It's okay, just make sure that you rewatch your replay and try to figure out the sequencing and stuff. So here I'm just gonna play the replay a little bit because I want to showcase something here. So my opponent here is gonna lead with Cosmic Cyclone to try and banish my Beast, but I don't want that to happen, so I'm just gonna negate with Savage. But here, pay attention to something that I'm gonna do. As soon as I negate with Savage, I'm gonna chain my Axel Synchro. The reason for that is because once you use your Omni Negate, preferably you want to immediately chain Axel Synchro so that you can replace that Omni Negate that you just used with another Omni Negate. In this case, I chain Axel Synchro to go into Baron using the tuner plus the Savage that used its negate. You might be asking yourself, I mean, wouldn't that be a waste anyway? Like the Savage still had a counter on it, right? And it's like 3600 attack. Well, having another negate on the field is better, because now that we use the Omni negate of Savage, that Savage is pretty much a vanilla monster on the field, okay? And we don't want that. It's better to just replace it with Baron and have an extra Stardust Dragon on the field, which offers us destruction protection as well, okay? And destruction is the most used form of removal in Yu-Gi-Oh anyway, so this Stardust Dragon is not completely useless, okay? So you might want to get in that mindset, like as soon as you use your Omni Negate, if you used your Omni Negate first on the opponent's turn, it's better to just chain your Axel Synchro to replace it immediately with another Omni Negate. Okay, I'm just gonna let the replay plays out here. So I'm just gonna try to clean the back row here. And here I'm just gonna OTK by cleaning the back row and just attack for game. So yeah, I'm just gonna go into Ascalon here, and I don't know what I'm doing here. Oh yeah, I'm just cleaning the back row. So my opponent wasn't like on some Mirror Force stuff, like in Branded for some reason. So yeah, don't worry about it. So here I'm just gonna attack, and my opponent also had the Drown in Mirror Force, so yeah. So it played out very well. So as you can see, even with like weird hands and weak hands that look weak, we can still full combo if we know to identify that the hand can combo and sequence things correctly. So now I'm just gonna jump into the next replay, and hopefully it will be shorter to explain than this one. So this is the second replay. So our opening hand is not that bad. However, you might be asking yourself, okay, Crafty, like we want to know what to do when you don't have access to Remus, but I see you already have Tempest and Legatus, so you can access Remus. Well, don't worry, because our opponent is gonna make things so much harder for us during this game that you're gonna be thankful for this replay. So, first of all, we're gonna start with Tempest to try to get rid to Remus, but our opponent had the Ash. So now we are a little bit in a pickle, because we just went -2 for no reason because we got ashed, and now we only have 3 cards to play, and our opponent might have extra disruption as well. We don't know yet. So this ash kinda hurts, right? However, again, no matter what the hand is, you always want to ask those 3 questions whenever you don't have access to Remus or Ravine. So let's apply the same thing here. Can I get to Romulus so that I can get to Ravine? Well, the answer is not obvious at the start, but the more you look at the hand, the more you realize, wait a second, this hand is actually combo. So how is that? So notice that how we have Tempest and Legatus in the graveyard. And because I play Armagram, I can just search Armagram with Glow and summon Armagram. Okay, so now we can summon Armagram. So now we have a dragon, and we still did not normal summon, so we can just normal summon Zephyros. And because we started with Zephyros specifically, it's even better for us. Okay, so now we can search Ravine with Romulus, and because we have Zephyros in the graveyard, this Ravine only needs 1 discard to go into Guidurg, as opposed to the regular 2 discards. The reason for that is because we have the Zephyros in the graveyard, and we have a Dragunity monster on the field, so we just discard 1 card to get to Remus. And this card that we discarded in this case happens to be Saronir, so we're just gonna dump the Lubellion. And now Remus is in the graveyard. So now we have a winged beast, a level 4 winged beast that we can summon on the field, and Remus that can summon itself from the graveyard because we control a Dragunity monster. So now we can go into Guidurg. However, before we do that, before we go into Guidurg, I do a little bit of a advanced play here. I just activate Ravine again to search Phalanx. And I'm gonna do a similar thing to what I did earlier with Baby Rock. So I'm just gonna go into Guidork and use the secret effect to summon Phalanx. Again, we go into Samsara early, go into Seal, and again we check the graveyard at this point to see if we are on the right track. Again, you want to see Guidork, Samsara Dragon, and a level 6 Dragon in the graveyard. So we already have everything we need, except this time, as opposed to the last time, we don't have access to Seifert. Okay, remember, Seifert got us access to an extra Bestial to summon, which extended the combo even further. This time we don't have access to Seifert, so let's see what happens. Again, same thing, use Samsara, get back the level 6 Dragon, tribute over Seal, use Seal to summon another Bestial, go into Atom first, and then go into Red MD. Red MD is gonna get back the Guidork, and the Guidork is gonna get the Ringo Worm. So it's kind of the same thing as earlier, except now we don't have access to Seifert, so we just continue the combo without Seifert. So now we just go directly into Lobelian, set up the Regained. Like I said, usually when you only have access to one of the branded cards, you go for Regained most of the time. Especially in this case because my hand is empty, so I'm trying to fish for a hand trap that I can draw into. So now I'm going into this pattern, banish the Ringo Worm to summon another tuner on the field to use with Guidork. And here, notice, so we're gonna get back the Ringo Worm in the deck and draw a card. Thankfully for us, we draw into a hand trap. So now we're gonna synchro with the token and Guidork. And here it's pretty important to see your graveyard and your banished pile. So here you have two options. You either go into Axel Synchro, summon back the Phalanx, and maybe go into Arid Bear, or you can just keep the Axel Synchro and Phalanx on the field, pass turn, and on the opponent's turn you can quick Synchro into Baron. So that's one option. Another option is to do what I'm just doing now, is to Synchro directly into Savage, so that you have an Omni-Negate from the start. Then use the Dispatter to summon back the Samsara Dragon, and use the Samsara Dragon plus Atom to go into Seal. And because we activated Magnamut earlier, we get to search Druid Swarm. So with just 3 cards that we had to play with, although technically it's also 5 cards because we needed the Tempest and Negatus to be in the graveyard so we can summon Armagram, but you know what I mean, right? So 3 cards in hand, and we still ended on this board, which is really good, right? So let's just play out the duel. So my opponent is unbranded, but 45 cards branded. He's trying to summon Druid Swarm. I'm just gonna destroy it. He's still gonna get the banish, but I'm gonna put back the Samsara in deck and draw 1 card. And of course, we draw into Maxi. This is the power of Regained. We drew Ash on our turn, Maxi on their turn. So yeah, we summon back the Magnamut here to search for a follow-up. Our opponent is trying to play, but we have enough disruption to shut them down, and he's playing under Maxi anyway. So now I can just OTK him on the next turn. So yeah. So as you can see, even though they disrupted us on a very hard spot, we still managed to play, we still managed to set up a board, and we still managed to win, okay? So yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here, like I should just destroy this with the Baron and attack directly, but I guess I'm trying to flex a little bit here. So yeah. And my opponent scoops. So yeah, so this is another way of playing without Remus or Ravine, like from the start. It's just a habit of trying to identify whether or not the hand can play and whether or not you can combo. Again, keep asking yourself those 3 questions. Can you go into Romulus? That gets you Ravine. And then do we have enough discards to go into a Guidork? And do you have access to a level 6 Dragon? So now I'm gonna hop into the 3rd replay. So this is the 3rd replay. And as you guys can see, I have access to Remus once again, but because I'm using this replay in this video, you guys already know something went horribly wrong. So let's see what happened here. So I'm gonna start with small ward, and I'm gonna banish the Tempest specifically to add Remus through draw. So why did I banish Tempest? Why did I not keep Tempest? Well, because I knew that this is a draw meta, and I knew that a lot of people are playing a lot of hand traps, so I just wanted to keep the Droll and Ash in hand just in case I get trolled, because I can't play through Droll anyway, so I might as well keep Droll and Ash for my own, for their turn, so that I can survive another turn, basically, right? So I just added Remus, and I still can combo anyway with Remus with this hand, so if they don't troll me, I can just discard the Droll to start playing, right? However, as soon as I add the Remus, as you can see, guys, I get Drolled. So that's a rough spot. So now I have 4 cards in hand, and I got Drolled. So now I don't have any choice than to pass. So now my opponent starts with Wraith Soth, and I'm thinking that it's probably Manadium. And I'm just gonna Ash this, hoping that it would be enough to stop them. And thankfully it was. So they just set 1 and pass. So we survived the first turn, but remember, we already got denied from playing Ravine once already. So now let's see if the second time is any better. So now I'm gonna activate Remus, and I get Ashed. Oh my god. Okay, so this guy does not want me to access Ravine at all. Okay, so, but thankfully we can still play because we have access to enough resources to start playing, basically. So again, same questions. Do I have access to Romulus so that I can get access to Ravine, even though my Remus got ashed? The answer is yes. I can just normal Ring of Worm, banish it, summon RedMD, and then RedMD gets back Remus from the graveyard, go into Romulus. Romulus gets me Ravine, and Ravine can get me Legatus. I don't need to go into Remus because Remus is already in the graveyard. So I just play, go into Guidork that way, and I can still combo. The only problem is that I would be using RedMD early on in the combo, and I don't have access to a level 6 dragon. However, because I knew that I most likely was against Manadium, because Kashtira is kinda dead right now, I was trying to force some plays so that I force some disruption from my opponent. So now, I'm just gonna do exactly that. So I'm just gonna start playing like I said, summon back the Remus, go into Romulus, and I added Ravine. Surely this is the 3rd time I'm trying to use Ravine. Surely it's gonna go well. Like they say, 3rd time is a charm, right? And no. My opponent is on Cosmic Cyclone for some reason. Okay. So now this is the 3rd time I'm trying to access Ravine, but my opponent is denying me the chance to just use Ravine. Okay. I guess I'm not playing. But since his field was empty, I'm just gonna summon back the Remus. I'm not gonna keep it in the graveyard. I'm just gonna summon it, go for some damage. So I'm just gonna deal 2000 damage to his life points, and I'm gonna go into Seals and pass. And I was thinking at this point, okay, I'm just on Seal. I have Duel unlock board as well. Surely I'm fine, right? So my opponent here is confirming the fact that he's on Manadium, so he's leading with Imagining, and he's going to normal summon Heart and use the effect. And since I'm a casual player, like, I don't really know too much about Manadium. However, one thing I know is that usually they want the Heart to stick to the field, or the normal summon in general to stick to the field, so that they can play, basically, right? So what I did here is immediately chain Seal to bounce back the Heart, hoping that it is enough. Okay, so because usually that's what I heard, like, from a lot of people, that if you just bounce back the Heart or the normal summon, usually they cannot play. So that's what I did, and thankfully they did not. They cannot play. I summoned the Magnemot here to search follow-up for next turn. Hopefully this 4th time that I want to use Ravine will be actually I will be actually able to do that. Of course, there is nothing best to as a draw for turn than Maxi, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna use Remus here to get Ravine. Okay, we we got the Ravine search. Let's see if the Ravine is gonna stick to the field. And it stuck to the field. So finally, on the 4th attempt, we actually got to use Ravine. So now I can just combo, right? Not necessarily. One thing I know about Menedium is that they play Nibiru. And I was afraid of Nibiru here because I can start play, but I don't have enough resources to play through Nibiru. So I was debating here whether or not I should go I should just go like Crystal Wing, deal 3000 damage and pass. However, knowing their hand, because I knew that they have Realm Heart plus the Meek in hand, so I knew that they have like a full combo through like, with one card basically, and I'm pretty sure they can dodge my Crystal Wing. Like if they have another extender, like if they draw into another extender, my Crystal Wing alone will not be enough. So I was thinking, how can I kill them this turn? And I came to the conclusion that I need to risk getting Nibiru through Axel Synchro. So what do I do here is start comboing, and I'm going into like Guidurg, and I'm gonna get Baby Rock. And here, I'm gonna do something. I'm not gonna go into Crystal Wing, I'm just gonna go into Axel Synchro. And this is my 5th summon. So, and I was gambling on one thing. Usually the meta decks and the most popular decks that play Axel Synchro, they do not play Stardust Dragon. So they don't play the quick synchro setup. Okay? So I was banking on the fact that my opponent is gonna think that as well. So most likely, if he thinks that I'm not on the quick synchro setup, what he's gonna do is he's just gonna let me summon the tuner first and then Nibiru me, so that I only end on the Nibiru token. And I was hoping for that. And that's exactly what he did. He let me summon the tuner, and then he's gonna activate Nibiru. However, because I'm playing Dragunity, I am on the quick synchro setup. And this plays perfectly against Nibiru. So check this out. I immediately chain my quick synchro. Ignore the Maxi here because I misclicked on Maxi, because usually when you use the quick synchro, the first window that pops is the option to click on Stardust Dragon to summon it. So I was pre-clicking and Maxi popped up instead. So you can ignore that. So yeah, so here I'm gonna summon the Stardust Dragon. And I'm gonna use the Baby Rock and Magna Mode to go into Savage. Notice what happened to the Nibiru. It just fizzled. The reason for that is because Axel Synchro states that if you use its quick synchro effect, for the rest of this turn, the monsters synchro summoned by this effect are unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. Okay? So this Stardust Dragon is considered synchro summoned as per the effect of Axel Synchro. This is treated as a synchro summon. So this Stardust Dragon is considered synchro summoned by Axel Synchro, and Savage was Axel synchroed with Axel Synchro. So these two dragons are unaffected by my opponent's activated effects. And if we read Nibiru, Nibiru tributes for effect, not for cost. So these monsters are unaffected by Nibiru. That's why Nibiru fizzled and did nothing. So I dodged the Nibiru with the gamble that I took with Axel Synchro, because I know most players expect that if you play Axel Synchro, you're not on the quick synchro setup. Unfortunately for my opponent, he was playing against Dragunity. So yeah, here's I'm just gonna equip the Romulus to Savage, and even better for us, this play is also lethal because my opponent was on 5k. So it just worked out really well. So yeah, so that's the third replay. I was gonna add a fourth replay, but I realized that the fourth replay you guys already saw in my other video, like about Duelist Cup. So if you want to see a replay where I don't draw Remus or Ravine, but I have a bunch of extenders, like one of the best hands that you can draw without Remus or Ravine, check out my video about the Duelist Cup. It's the third duel in that video where I play versus Kashtira. You can see what I do with that hand and the board that I end up on, and what I end up playing against, and how I use my disruptions. So I really encourage you to do that. Also, whenever you get stuck again, when you don't have Remus and Ravine, you can come back to this video and rewatch it, and maybe even do some exercise and just pause the video and go into Dueling book and try to figure out the lines again by yourselves. Okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys like found it educational and helpful. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment. It will help me a lot. It will help the algorithm push the video on YouTube. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.